if you want to see the responsibility, if you want to see the lack of morality, if you want to see outright degeneracy in a nice face, in a pleasant narrative, you just have to listen to Cassidy, Senator Cassidy out of Louisiana. Why? He claims that he does believe that Donald Trump is guilty, and they think that the paperwork, the where he kept on, the papers that he held on to, he said that's a slam dunk. It seems like that's a slam dunk to keep all the classified records. And he also thinks that maybe where they have him on tape claiming that, get me more votes, also likely make him guilty. So Cassidy says with a straight face, I think he should drop out of the race. Anybody on the stage that goes ahead and support Donald Trump, anyone on the stage supporting Donald Trump in any of these debates would make a better candidate than Donald Trump, a better president than Donald Trump. Great. So far, that sounds pretty good. I want you to listen to what he says there and what he says thereafter, because it's the thereafter that shows that these folks have no morality, no soul, no real patriotism, no interest in a country moving forward in a positive direction. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Let's talk now about the presidential race. Donald Trump, the former president, he is facing federal charges over his efforts to overturn the election. And you did vote to convict him in his impeachment trial after January 6th. You said, quote, because he is guilty. The former Attorney General, Bill Barr, says that the charges that have been brought against him are, quote unquote, responsible. Do you agree?
Well, I'm not an attorney. There's 91 charges, I think. I think the charge that seems most likely, seems almost a slam dunk, is the one related to mishandling of classified documents. So I can't comment on the rest of them because apparently you have to prove state of mind. You'll have attorneys after me that can comment on that. But there's at least one, which is the mishandling of the federal documents, which is seems, again, a very strong case. They have a tape recording of him speaking of it. If that is proven, then we may have a candidate for president who has been convicted of a crime. I think Joe Biden needs to be replaced, but I don't think Americans will vote for someone who's been convicted. I'm just very sorry about how all this is playing out.
Do you think that Donald Trump should drop out of the race?
I think so. But obviously, that's up to him. You're just asking me my opinion, but he will lose to Joe Biden if you look at the current polls. I'm a Republican. I think any Republican on that stage in Milwaukee will do a better job than Joe Biden. And so I want one of them to win. If former President Trump ends up getting the nomination but cannot win a general, that means we'll have 4 more years of policies which have led to very high inflation, to a loss of purchasing power for the average American equivalent to $10,000, and to many other things which I think have been deleterious to our country's future.
So if Donald Trump does ultimately win the Republican nomination, will you vote for Joe Biden or the Democrat over the Republican on the ticket?
I'm going to vote for a Republican, but my threshold issue for any person who wants to be the leader of our country is, will you take care of the issues before us? Both Biden and Trump both have the same policy on Social Security, for example, which is to do nothing. Unfortunately, Social Security is going insolvent in 8 to 9 years, which means that somebody watching this who's getting Social Security is going to get a 24% cut. Both former President Trump, President Biden are basically saying you're going to get a 24% cut because I'm not going to do anything. Now, my threshold issue, if you want to be a leader of our country, is to lead. And right now we need someone who will lead on that issue.
Now, so Bill Cassidy couldn't answer the real question that the host asked correctly. She said, okay, do you think Donald Trump should drop out of the race? Yes, he should. Good answer. Now, if he drops out of the race and he happens to be the Republican candidate, are you going to vote for him? Well, I'm going to. Are you going to vote for El Señor Biden? Well, I am going to vote for the Republican. In other words, he's saying if there's a Biden, Biden-Trump race, he's still going to vote for Trump. He didn't say that, but that is by inference. But let me tell you what makes it worse. She asks him, he starts to say that there is no difference policy-wise between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Of course, that's patently false. Donald Trump wasn't going to do all the social programs that we got Biden to do. He wouldn't have had the IRA. He wouldn't have had the student loan funds. He wouldn't have had any of those things, right? Because that's not what the Republican orthodoxy stands for. So they're not the same. Look, we can call Biden a neoliberal all we want, which is true, but he has come out with some good policies after being rigged on by progressives in the party, and they came to compromises. We didn't get all that we wanted, but you know what? I'll be saying I'm as progressive as left as one can get, and I am so surprised at the amount that we got. I'm talking about home programs. I'm talking about domestic programs, what we've gotten from Biden. So they're not the same. But here you have Cassidy saying Biden and Trump are the same. So how can you say you don't think the American people will elect a convicted felon? You don't want to elect a convicted felon. You claim that Donald Trump and Joe Biden are the same policy-wise. So then if you don't want to elect a convicted felon and you think Donald Trump should get out of the race, and if Donald Trump still wins, you claim you're not going to vote for Biden, you're going to vote for the Republican. That just shows that you have, first of all, your words mean nothing. Your words mean absolutely nothing, Senator Cassidy. It shows that this has nothing to do with morality. This has nothing to do with law and order. This has nothing to do with anything other than all you want to ensure is that a Republican is in power, irrespective of whether that Republican is a felon or not. Yes, you would prefer that he's not a felon, but if your choice is between two guys that you claim are equal, one is a felon and the other isn't a felon, then you go ahead and still elect the felon. I tell you what, and I'm going to get a bit personal here because there's a statistic that I saw on TV recently that really hurts to the core, because you just proved a particular point. You gave a good example as to why our system is so screwed up. You are saying that some people, irrespective of what they do, get a pass in life. And that is exactly what you stand for. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.